There is someone today in a dark place that needs your light. Guide and take them to His place of hope and grace. Born into a rich musical legacy, singer-producer, multi-instrumentalist Chris Golden, son of the Oak Ridge Boys' William Lee Golden, began his music career almost as soon as he could walk. Despite #1 hits, Entertainer of the Year awards, playing for 6 living presidents, and performing around the world, Chris understands who he serves, Jesus. After being approached one night by whom Chris calls an angel, he was told to quit playing for the ones who paid his check, but the one who gave him his gift. This is his story. This is today's Nashville. This is faith. Chris, it's so good to see you again.
It's great to see you again. Welcome to my home.
It's amazing. I love this room. There's just so much to see. Tell me about it.
Well, this is my house of music. It's not just this room. It's just about every room, you know. When I first moved in here, I had my cousin Dana come up here, and she was going to help me find my style. And she said, you know, you don't really have a style. Said, music is your thing. You got all these instruments around. You should put them all over the house. So, you know, I made a drum chandelier. I got a grand piano bookcase. You know, guitars on the wall. I tried to put. This is the first guitar I ever had right here. My Uncle Rayford got us that guitar, and that's the one I learned to play on. But I wanted them to be able to where I could get it off the wall and play it. So I call this the House of Music. It's home, H-O-M-E, House of Music and Entertainment.
That is so wonderful. And I notice all the awards behind you.
Yeah, they're just dust collectors.
Dust collectors. No, you've had quite a few #1 hits, and
I've been blessed.
You have. You've been all over the world. And take me back to where it all started, because you come from a very talented family.
I do. I come from a long line of it.
You do.
And I guess I'm about a, you know, it really started with my great-grandfather, Lee Rush Golden. He was a holiness preacher, and he played the fiddle. And he used to play at the brush arbors and stuff like that. And he had his own radio show in Bruton, Alabama, and that's where my father got his start as a little boy, playing and singing on Granddaddy Golden's radio show. My dad, you know, joined the Oak Ridge Boys when I was 2 years old, so we moved to Tennessee in a cattle trailer and brought the family up here.
How long ago
I was about 2.5 or 3 when we moved to Tennessee. So I basically just went to school in Tennessee, though, and all the rest of my growing up years I spent on the farm in South Alabama. My mother and father were from the same small town in Bruton, Alabama. And my mama's family was very talented too. She was one of 8 brothers and sisters. They all played and sang. They played different instruments. Her daddy played the fiddle as well. And fiddle is something that I never really got the hang of. I can play a lot of different instruments, but I think it skipped a generation. My daughter's plays very well, and she comes out and plays with the Golden some. But anyway, man, it was just something that always came easy for me, you know,
you're
music.
One of 3 sons, right?
Actually, there's 4 of us. I'm my mama's baby. With my mom and dad had 3, and I'm the baby of that. And Dad had another son many years later. He's he waited 40 years and thought he was going to try it again.
We love your dad too.
Yeah, I do too.
So you came to Nashville. You went to school here.
I went to school at Good Pasture Christian School. They put us in school pretty early on, and in Christian school, I started there. I went there most of 12 years. There was a little bit of a period where I lived with my grandparents for a while, and I went to school down there. But when I came back, I went back to Good Pasture Christian School. So we had Bible every day. You know, when you're in 1st grade, they start you out with Jonah and the whale and Daniel in the lion's den, and by the time your senior year comes around, we spent my whole senior year on Revelation, you know, so it got pretty heavy toward the end, and I probably learned more about the Bible from my grandparents than I did in Christian school. Maybe it was because I wasn't paying enough attention at school, and you know, your mind wanders sometime, but
Did you have a personal relationship with Jesus at that time, or was it
I
just...
did not.
Okay.
I did not.
Because I think a lot of people look at that and say, you know, you've been brought up in Christian school, and you know, but there's a big difference between that, isn't it?
It is. It is. I learned all about it. I learned everything about it, but I never had that personal relationship. And I guess I was probably about 14 years old, and one of the summers that I was with my grandparents, they didn't have a television. All it was to do was play music and hang out in the kitchen or pull weeds, and we'd rather play and sing. There was a little church down the road called Golden Memorial Holiness Church that we had a key to. It was built in honor of my great-grandfather. He had 13 children. My granddaddy was one of the identical triplets. It was Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And
You know I'm a triplet.
are you?
Yes, I am. That's one thing we had in common, I remember that.
Okay.
So they were identical.
They were identical triplets, yes.
Did one pass away, or?
Two of them did. My granddaddy was the runt, and he was the only survivor.
Really?
So he was a little bitty man, and my grandmother was a poet and wrote a lot of Christian poems and stuff, and they took us to the revivals all the time. Sometimes it'd start out as a week long, it'd turn into 2 and 3 weeks, and we'd go just about every night. And I can remember that's when I first went to the altar or felt that calling to go, as when I was about 14 years old. But you know, I got out of high school, and you'd think I forgot everything I ever learned that I was taught, because I joined up with a rock and roll band, started living that life that came with it, and got good at being bad. And you know, it wasn't something that you think about. You made a getting off the skids too bad, but it was just that time and distance thing for me.
From 14.
Yeah.
And did you know that you always were going to be in music?
I did. It was something that always came easy for me. I never really had to try that hard so, you know, music just came really easy for me. I was able to pick up different instruments and play them by ear. You know, it was something that I feel like was a gift. That was my gift. And I felt like I'd be turning my back on my calling if I knew it was my calling pretty early on. And even during those times where it looked like I'd forgot about God, I always felt His hand on me, and I know that He never forgot me. I was taking the long way around to what, you know, sometimes a man has to take the long way around to come back to what means the most. And
What was it like growing up with your dad always being on the road with the Oak Ridge Boys?
I had a great mama. I had a great mother. She was the mother and the father about 250 days out of the year. And, you know, when my dad was home, he was usually at the office every day. He managed the group. So whenever he was home, they were still, you know, booking dates and doing radio interviews or stuff like this. And, you know, he worked a lot even when he was home. So
Your mom, we're going to talk about her. She impacted your life tremendously.
in a big time way, all of our lives, yeah.
Yep.
Everybody she ever met, she impacted.
I heard about her. We're going to talk about her when we come back.
Okay.